It is over. The Formula 1 2024 season has finally come to a close, with the season ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So let's review it. So, as the Formula 1 Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi gets underway, it's very likely to say that this race is going to be just as exciting as, in fact, I won't even finish that sentence. So let's just move on straight away. And we had some rookies in the car, including Isaac Hadjar, who got into the Red Bull and spun off just as he was starting to set some times. Meanwhile, for Charles Leclerc, he was worried he had food poisoning, but it was going to get even worse because since he now had exceeded his battery charge, or something to do with that anyway, following FP1, which meant he was delayed 20 minutes actually at the start of the session, he was worried he wouldn't be able to join his young brother Arthur Leclerc, but he did in the end and topped the session. But in FP2, that was topped by Lando Norris, as McLaren looked seriously quick. McLaren looked quick, and as did Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris though slid off at the first corner, as track limits looked an issue at the first corner at turn 1 at the Abu Dhabi circuit, something I don't think we've seen before. Jack Doohan was getting to grips with his Alpine. Esteban Ocon was ousted following the Qatar Grand Prix, and now Jack Doohan is in his place for the final race of the year, though it's very likely, unless he scores some shock points on Sunday, he'll be stuck in 24th in the 20-driver World Championship, but that is an incredible achievement. Anyway, Alex Albon had issues in his Williams. Williams sit 9th in the Constructors, their worst place since 2022, which was only 2 years ago, so they've gone back down to the bottom. FP3 was underway and Oscar Piastri topped the session. His McLaren was 2/10 quicker than Lando Norris, as McLaren again looked to be at the top of the session. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell were separated by a big margin, and although Sergio Perez went wide at the first corner, he didn't look much quicker either, though his early pace in the weekend suggested he was close to Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz in his final Ferrari weekend had an issue with his car with smoke coming out at the 20-minute mark, but it didn't matter and he managed to complete the session. The Alpine of Pierre Gasly slid wide at the exit of a corner, and a similar thing happened to George Russell. But let's go into qualifying now, and in the drop zone with 1 run to remain was Alonso, Tsunoda, Gasly, Doohan and Lawson with Bottas at the top. Yes, that's right, a tractor was at the top, and although that doesn't qualify as an F1 car, Bottas was doing a brilliant job. However, someone who wasn't was Lewis Hamilton, who got knocked out. I did say in the community post that I did reckon Hamilton would be out, so let's hope he has a good race on Sunday. The reason why he was out this time wasn't actually his speed. It was because of bad luck. He hit a bollard after Kevin Magnussen damaged his Haas car when he tried to get out the way, and that bollard cost Lewis Hamilton progression through to Q2. And he was knocked out along with Albon, Joe in his last F1 race, Colapinto in his last F1 race, and Doohan in his first F1 race. Q2 was underway and track limits were a big thing. Charles Leclerc on his final lap crucially went over the white line, which meant for the first time since the British Grand Prix in his third Q2 exit of the year, Charles Leclerc was out. Someone who wasn't was Valtteri Bottas, but with Charles Leclerc's time being deleted, it let Sergio Perez off the hook. Tsunoda was out then along with Lawson, Stroll, Leclerc and Magnussen. At the early runs of Q3, it looked as if Nico Hülkenberg would take pole position, but Verstappen nearly crashed when he was setting his lap, and it was over to the other drivers. Piastri then went ahead of the Haas of Hülkenberg, and then it was over to Sainz, who was looking on a great lap, and Sainz went ahead of Hülkenberg but behind Piastri, and Lando Norris took pole. Russell was only 7th, and Verstappen was out-qualified by a Haas. However, Hülkenberg had a 3-place grid penalty. So let's go into the race. And it was crazy from the get-go, as Max Verstappen cleared Carlos Sainz instantly, and there would be no George Russell-Max Verstappen war to turn number 1. But instead, we got a Verstappen-Piastri war as the two collided at the first corner. Lando Norris finally led a lap again, which I kind of predicted, considering it was going to be very unlikely someone was going to take the lead. But meanwhile, we got a Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen reunion as Bottas and Verstappen went wheel to wheel, and Hamilton and Verstappen went wheel to wheel early in the lap. Just like the old times, 2020. Meanwhile, Bottas and Perez collided, so we get the 2021 vibes there, as Sergio Perez was spun out and what could be his last Formula 1 race ends with a DNF. Valtteri Bottas was having a scruffy weekend, but Charles Leclerc was up through, having made 11 places on the opening lap. Charles Leclerc battled past Kevin Magnussen and got up to 7th position. The Haas cars were struggling, and Verstappen had a 10-second penalty for causing a collision at the opening lap with Oscar Piastri, but he cleared Fernando Alonso and was on the charge. The Red Bull driver had a 10-second penalty once again, and that's for the second time since Mexico City. Meanwhile, George Russell finally got past Pierre Gasly, who looks set to take his second podium of the year, which was a surprise, and Alpine really do deserve sixth in the Constructors. Meanwhile, Bottas and Magnussen went out with a bang, completely just like Magnussen's 2024 season, and they collided. Reminded me of Schumacher and Latifi's 2022 crash at a similar corner. Oscar Piastri slid off around Jules and Yuki Tsunoda, and he was managing to recover the 10th position, denying Alex Albon a point. And on the last lap, Lewis Hamilton caught up to George Russell, and the question is real or not? Did George Russell let him by? I think he maybe did, I don't know, maybe I don't want to think like that. But Lando Norris won, and McLaren became Constructors' Champions of the world, and the 2024 season finally came to a close. And Norris's dominant victory means every victory apart from Miami, which was an assist, has been dominant. He's never had a win where he's actually had to fight for it. But since next year, using his words, will be his year, we cannot wait for 2025. Everyone around the world, 2025, this is going to be the year. I want to say thank you for watching all of these reviews, and thanks for helping this channel grow. And I'll see you next time on F1 Hub.